Well, morning everybody. So I'm back in my DRO install here. So I've had a change of heart. I was concerned about putting the Y-axis on this side of the knee because all of the give adjusting screws and the lock and everything are over here. But I was looking at some other projects that folks have done, and it's actually going to be fairly easy to avoid that. And just by serendipity, in sort of test fitting this, it looks like what's going to be the easiest way to do this is I'm just going to go ahead and, rather this way, use the existing bracket that I used for the Z. This bracket fits perfect on here. I'm going to drill a single hole right there and put a screw in it. And I think that's going to put me right on the end of the knee, so I don't even necessarily need to trim the trim the bracket. I'll flip this one over, and then to attach the reed head, I'm just going to take a piece of aluminum. I gotta shape this down a little bit thinner, but basically it's going to slide behind here, mount to the head, and then what I'll do is I'll probably just cut a step in here, butt it up against the bottom of the table, pull it out just maybe, I don't know, a 1/16 of an inch, just so it doesn't rub, and then I think what I'll do is I'll just drill down through the top, or drill and counterbore down through the top and run those screws down there. There's plenty of meat in between the oiler and the lock and the give adjustment screws here. I think it's going to be a perfect fit. So that's the plan. I'm going to go ahead probably and just mount the scale up to get it in place for start, and then I'll measure it, square it, and start fabricating some brackets. I may see if I have a piece of aluminum that's a little thinner that might be a good fit, but otherwise I'll pop this on the shaper and just plane it right down. So looking good. I think that's going to be the easiest way to do it. I think it's going to be in a good location. It'll be out of the way. It's not going to interfere with anything, and like I said, it just by luck, using the existing bracket is going to be just about a perfect fit. I was going to put a slot in here and then try to drill and slot it, and to bring it in closer to the knee. I don't think it matters if it's out an inch. That's going to be fine. The boss here is about 1/2 inch wide, so that's the plan for today. So I'm going to get started, and I'll probably bring yours over to the shaper when I get started on that, and we'll go from there. So here's the Y-axis scale mounted up. So what I did was I just I went ahead and utilized the existing bracket that the Z is already connected to, and just drilled a single hole and mounted it up there. And on the other side, I just took a square piece, or rather a piece of aluminum bar stock. It happened to be just about 3/4, and I drilled and tapped a couple of holes and screwed into the knee, drilled and tapped a hole for the scale, and then when if I come over here, so I'm just about even right there. Maybe a few thou high here, just let me move over here, just a couple thou tops. So I'm pretty darn close to being parallel to the travel of the cross slide. So I think I should be good there. I can always shim that with a couple of washers if I really need to. So the next thing to do is to drop the cross slide on, and then I need to find a piece of stock that'll fit behind here, or maybe I'll just mill this one down or put on the shaper. That'll bolt to the underside of the slide and to the back of the reed head, and we should be good to go on the Y. So that actually turned out to be maybe easier than the Z, only because everything is square and parallel, where the Z, there was a couple of, the column tapering was a little more involved. So anyway, this is looking pretty good. Hopefully the accuracy will be about the same. I've been thinking about that more and more, and really if I'm plus or minus 3 or 4 thousandths, that's going to be great. If I need anything that's got tighter tolerances, I can always pop an indicator on and check as I go along. And like I said, the idea is just to get close and be able to get everything close enough to take a measurement and do a final pass. So I think that'll be good. It'll be interesting to see when I get the actual DRO software how that affects things like bolt circles. If I'm able to get a bolt circle that lines up accurately enough, but time will tell. So moving on. So I wanted to get a fairly accurate measurement between the back of the scale here and the knee. that allows for just, you know, a little bit of clearance behind there so that it doesn't rub. And I don't know, I was fiddling around with scales and squares and trying to eyeball that, and I remembered real handy tool in the shop, and that is the trusty adjustable parallel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my adjustable parallel behind here. Just open her up a little bit. So that's pretty much exactly where it's got to go. That's like you know, a snug fit. And then I think what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and I'll snug that down. And then I'll take a measurement across that, and I'll take 15 or 20 thou shy of that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this piece of aluminum here. I'll drop it in the shaper, and we will take it down to the correct thickness. It's only got to have about maybe 50 thousandths off of it, so that's what we're going to do. Go over to the shaper, plane this down, and then we'll start fitting it up. Okay, so I took my adjustable parallels, I measured across here, I opened up the calipers an additional 70 thou. That's going to be my clearance between the knee and the bracket. Then I went ahead and measured the block, scribed it at that distance. So that's my, I don't know if you can see my scribe line there. Probably should zoom in there. And then I just went ahead, zeroed my calipers again, measured the block, and I got to come off, I think it's 127 thou. 127 and a half. So I'll come off 128. So what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and touch off here. So that's just touching. And then I'll zero my dial. Can you see that? Now let me come out a little bit. Wrong way. Everything's backwards when I'm facing the front of the camera here, including the screw on my tripod. So there's a dial on top of the cross slide here, or on top of the slide, whatever kind of slide you want to call it. So what I'll do is I'll just loosen up the screw here. Unfortunately, these Atlas dials are just horrifically small and difficult to read, but so there's 0. If I remember, yep, these are 100 thou dials. So we'll 0, we'll come all the way around, come down additional 29 thou. And that'll be my final dimension on this. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and probably start off with, I don't know, maybe a 25 thou cut, and we'll see how it goes. I got a couple of drill marks and pock marks in the top of this block. Those should all come off. They're not all that terribly deep. So let me go ahead and just get set up. Actually, I'm going to just go ahead and set up right now. So I've got to find my crank. Unfortunately, I seem to have managed to misplace the crank handle for this machine. I'm sure if you're looking around my shop, you find that completely shocking. Anything can be out of place, but there it is. So what I've been using is just a regular square wrench, and I've managed to misplace that as well. It's probably sitting right in front of my eyes. Well, let me find that, and we'll go ahead and make the adjustments. Okay, so the table's in position. I'm just past the edge of the piece. I got my cut dialed in, so now I'm going to go ahead. Let me stop this so I can see what the heck I'm doing here. So I'm going to dial in 25 thou. So there's 10, 25, and I want the table to move to the right, so that's going to be moving forward here. We'll start her up, engage the feed, and she's going to start feeding. Let's see how that looks. I could probably get away with a heavier cut. Maybe the next one I'll take 35. There she goes. I'm sure I've said this 100 times, but I love the shaper. Just a really interesting little machine. You know, it's a bit of machine shop history these days. You don't see them around too much, not in production shops. But, you know, if you get the space for them, they're plenty handy. You can have fun with them. You can do real work with them. All right, we'll let this go. It's going to take a while. It's going to probably take about, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 minutes to get across this. I'm going to have to make probably 4 passes or so to get down to my line. And then we'll go and take it out of the vise and give it a test fit. Okay, so that was even going too slow for me. So, you know, obviously I'm only moving 5 or 6 thou per pass, and then doing that the long way or the short way across the bar was taking forever and a day. So I went ahead and turned the bar around. I adjusted the length of the stroke, so now I'm taking a longer stroke. I probably could have shortened this up a little bit. You can see I'm coming out about an inch past the end, really a little bit more than necessary. But it's working good. The clapper's doing its job. I'm off the back about a ½ an inch. And when you lengthen the stroke of the machine, it does speed up the cut. So you got to be aware that, you know, sometimes lighter cuts are needed. But it leaves a great finish, you know, going a little faster. And so that's what I'm doing. So again, I'll probably have to take 3 or 4 passes all total to finish up the bar to final dimension. But we're going and moving along. Put some WD-40 in there. That's what the smoke is, just to give it a little bit of lubrication. So off she goes. Chug, chug, chug goes the shaper. Alright, I think my block turned out pretty good. I got just enough clearance behind there, so now the next thing I need to do is just to put it up here. I just went ahead and, you know, just temporarily marked it, so I need to drill some holes in the cross slide and locate the reed head. I think the trickiest part's going to be, well, I think what I'll do is I'm going to go ahead and attach it to the reed head, and then I can scribe the bottom of the cross slide gently. I'll blow it up a little bit if I can, and mark it out, and then I'll probably clamp it in place and then drill through the whole thing. So anyway, this is going to be a wrap for today. Hope you guys enjoyed watching me and following along, and be back soon. Thanks for watching.